always let me see everything I need to. So we are using a heart-shaped wreath foam. And the great thing about this design is that it doesn't need to be perfect. So if it has like little indents or imperfections in it, I know that sometimes we can't get perfection when we go, and this is all that they might have left. But this is the design that we're using today. And you can see a bunch of these little fun colored felt leaves you will need. I'm thinking when I did this on a round, it was the same diameter. And so I asked my husband if he could swing by and grab me a 14-inch frame and make sure that it was the same diameter. And obviously you can tell this one is quite a bit thicker. So with the materials that I have, it's not going to let me, it wouldn't be enough materials. So with this, I will give you a total count at the end, but I have ordered and have ready 210 different colored felt leaves. So they come in packages of 100, and you'll get like light green, dark green. You get 3 different color browns. You get like this beige, this chocolate, and dark chocolate brown. You get a red, you get a burgundy, you get a mustard colored orange, a true orange, a yellow, and then like I said, this, believe it or not, it doesn't look like it aside from these, but this is 100 felt leaves. So we have to prep those first, and I'm going to show you what to do, and then we're going to come back and go ahead and start putting it all together. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to post those in the chat. I can see them if you're on Facebook or if you're on YouTube, both in my comments. Let me do this here. Okay, there we go. Click. There we go. So these leaves are 2 inches long, and they are about 1 inch wide. And I like getting them because they're already pre-cut. They already have the little serrated edges. They're fairly thick, so it's great for crafting. I don't have the time or the patience to try to cut these out. I have attempted to find a cutter that will cut through enough of them in felt, just in regular round, what do you call it, the punch cutters, and I haven't found anything that will work. So this company sells them already pre-done. Like I said, they have a little bit of the serrated edge, so you can kind of see that they're really, really good quality. So what you're going to want to do is, I prefer, put my mouse over here, I prefer to use the little Surebonder, what's called a Cool Shot. This is a cold glue gun. So, especially when doing felt, if your felt isn't thick enough, sometimes you can see the glue bleed through the other side. You can notice that it's got a little bit of a darker color to it. So that's why I prefer using this. Plus, they dry fairly quickly. You can pick this up at Hobby Lobby. I don't know if Amazon has these online. If they do, I will post the link in the description box for this tutorial when it goes to replay, because I'd have to find it first and then stick it in there. So what you're going to do is, right where there's a little indent, a little groove at the bottom, you're going to fold those so that it kind of gives it a weathered look. And then you're going to place just 1 dot of the glue there. And then I find if you use like binder clips or the little chip clips that Dollar Tree sells, and just put these right on the end, it's going to give them a defined leaf-like shape, just like that. So again, just fold it in half. Have your binder clip or your little clips handy. Just a little dab of glue right here on the very end. And then a chip clip right where the glue is. And then you're just going to want to make sure you keep them open because we don't want them glued shut. And we don't want them too thin. We don't want to look like this, in which case you've applied too much glue or you've put it down a little too far. We want to keep as much of the length as possible, which is why just a little dab, literally one little dot at the bottom, and chip clip it. And I just chip clip it so that it'll stay in that shape. And I'm just going to do these so that we have enough to go all the way through. Let me just do a couple. They go fairly quickly once you have all of your supplies handy. So I usually just put like 10 little clips, binder clips or chip clips. And I just sit here and I'll just put a little dab of glue on the end. You can use bigger clips. You can use the small ones. But you will do this for all 200 leaves because I like it to be fairly thick. There are some felt leaf wreaths that are out there that are not very thick. They're not very big. And I kind of have a tendency of going quality over anything. These wreaths would not be good for the outside, but the great thing about this design is it is perfect for storm doors. It is storm door compliant because it's going to be kept fairly small. I'll leave one more in case we need to demo that one more time. But as you can see, those would be in the process of drying. I usually do them 10 at a time. Then by the time I have finished those, I go back and I grab another 10 colors. I move these over and then I undo them. So I just kind of have them rotating in on quantities of 10. So that by the time I'm doing one set and ready to start the other, they've already kind of dried. And then they stay in that shape, which is perfect for what we are intending to do. Okay, I'm going to line these up, keeping them my color. And so the first thing we're going to do on this is we're going to wrap the frame, because just in case there is a slight gap somewhere where they don't sit like edge to edge, we want to make sure that this is covered. And so I thought going with a fall colored look would be really good to do. So the first thing I'm going to do, and this is it looks like it is about a 12-inch by, it's like 12 by 11. So 11 at the widest, 12 at the longest. I'm going to start up here at the top. And what I'm going to do is slightly on the back, I am going to run a bead of glue here. Oops. Just like so. And then I'm going to use a pin just to hold these in place so that I can continue to wind my way around the design. And I'm going to do a slight overlap. So I'm going to kind of nail that center, because I was like thinking, how in the heck can I get that to stay? The best way to do it, and this is why this cool shot is so nice, is it works on styrofoam because it won't melt our styrofoam. So I'm going to go over, and again, oops, too many times of rolling this. There we go, one more time. And I'm going to pull this up. And we're going to go around. We just got to get through the point section. And then you can go as thick as you want. Keep in mind that you're going to be pinning your felt leaves in here. So don't make it overly thin. Like, try to stretch it out so this way you're not fighting the wire as you try to pin your leaves on. So I'm just going around. I don't know, I had to pick the heart form because sadly the diameter on the other one would not be enough for me to completely cover it with the leaves that I have. And normally I always purchase more than enough, but I wasn't planning on the diameter of the form being a bit thicker than I had done in the past. I will link that tutorial for the circle one in the description box when this goes to replay status. Right now we're just winding, and I'm doing a slight overlap on the ribbon just before that to get it nice and tight. And I have 2 rolls of this ribbon because I have both of them sadly open. Okay. So dealing with that point, I'm going to come in here with our glue and laid a bead down here. Like I said, it's not going to melt my styrofoam. I'm going to do it again right here, just so that this stays in place as I continue to wrap. And we've just got a slight overlap there. Let's go ahead and pull this off, the entire roll. This ribbon you can pick up at Hobby Lobby. I believe Hobby Lobby still has this in their inventory. So as they're getting all their fall stuff out, you can pick up your ribbon. And because we're doing that all on the angle, we kind of have this little gap that is developing as we go around. So I'm having to tighten that as it goes up and over. But this way, if there's any gap happening, we should be able to camouflage that really well. And then this way, it also creates a smooth finish both on the front and on the back. And I almost made it all the way around, which is fine. I'm just going to go ahead and fold this here. I'm going to go ahead and add a little dab of glue here. That's the nice thing about working with a cool glue gun. It's not hot enough to get you. So just a little piece of ribbon will finish that. I'm going to go ahead and give it that much. I like to do the fold just so that it's a cleaner finish rather than just a blunt cut. So just making sure that matches up. Take my pins, put those inside, and then finish wrapping that little piece here. And as I bring this up and around, I can actually go ahead and remove that pin. And I'm going to cover up the one below that as well. And back to the back. There we go. Same thing. Fold it over. Add a little glue. Go ahead ahead and lift this up nice and tight. I'm going to secure it with my pins just so those have a time to set. And we're going to go ahead and add our hanger so that when we're finished, I don't have to worry about laying it on our leaves that are already added. We're going to go ahead and add our hanger here. So again, this is a triple corded fall. It's got a little bit of orange, green, all of the colors that we're going to be working on today. Again, you can pick this up at Hobby Lobby in their craft section. So I'm just going to put a knot on one side. And then I am going to use floral pins, but I'm going to cut these down quite a bit because I don't want them quite that long. So when you're cutting your floral pins, just cut them at an angle so that they will still have a point that can penetrate our form. So let's go ahead and trim this one. I'm going to put this right at the top. Here is my little floral pin. Push that in. We will secure it with some more glue just to be cautious so the pins don't pull out if there's pressure placed on there. And then I'm going to do the same on the opposite side so that we have a nice loop. Go ahead and make sure that I'm going to pull this down just a little bit. There we go. Nice little loop there. Remove the end. Let's cut one more of our floral pins down. There's that one. And then we're going to go ahead and secure that. Now I can remove my pin. And we'll go ahead and add our floral pin to the back. And we'll go ahead and take out the other one because now our glue has set up. So now our form is prepped and ready to go. So what you're going to do, there are going to be 5 different rows of colored leaves. In what order you put those together, it is entirely up to you. You can do them by color, you can alternate them. Sometimes you'll find that it's kind of challenging in a way because I'm picking a very difficult shape to try to take a felt leaf and make the felt, like I want to still maintain the integrity of the heart, but we need to make sure that we have really good placement. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to start on the outside bottom, and I want them, if I'm thinking about it like this, I want them to overlap just slightly at the bottom. So we're going to put one entire row. It's going to go like this all the way around, and then it's going to start from here. So at the top, it's going to be like this, like a little apple leaf, and then they're going to fall all the way this way to a nice even point. So in order to do that, we have to have a little bit of an overlap here with our serrated edge. And we don't want to take this all the way down to the mat. We want to elevate it so that the tips kind of fall down. So it's kind of like this is the look that I'm going for. And I'm going to be taking as close to the color of the pin as I can. And I'm going to be pushing it down into that folded little lip that we created when we glued our leaf points down. So just like that, I've got my first one scheduled to go. And then we're going to work that. I have a tendency of going like, if I have a dark leaf, I'll go with a light leaf after that. Light meaning let's pick a lighter color. And I'm going to slightly overlap the pin of my head so that it's covered. And I'm going to try to find matching pins. If I can, that will kind of match some of my colors. Obviously, I don't have every color represented by every leaf here, but it's a good start nonetheless. So I'm going to take a dark burgundy, again overlapping my pin head just slightly, and it kind of evens out to where I am pinning them in at is about where each of the ribbon lengths are. So as you can see, it's taking that coverage all the way down to the bottom, just like so. So I had a dark, let's go with a light, and stretch that. You don't want to go so close this way. You want to stretch that out and elongate them to the point where it's just overlapping the pin head of the other ribbon. So we've got light. Let's go dark. Let's take that down with a little bit of chocolate. And I will try to grab a black pin. And pin that right in. Now that we have light, or we have dark, we're going to do our light. And I'm trying to do red with orange, if I can, just to kind of try to hide it. So we've got dark, light. I guess we're doing dark again. Let's go. Let's do our chocolate, our milk chocolate leaf color. And they don't have to cover it perfectly. They just need to cover, because the layer that we build on top of that will continue to build upon and hopefully cover everything that we have. This one's kind of a little odd. I don't like the way that that was sitting. Sometimes it could just be where you put your pin at. Sometimes it could just be that leaf is just a little bit wonky. So again, over. We'll do this one with a green pin. And I tried to get it right up underneath the lip. We will take red, since that's a dark. And let's see, I'm trying to make sure I'm using all the colors. Here we've got that mustard orange color. And so knowing you have 10 colors will let you know if you've used all 10, which we have. So now if you want, you can go ahead and bring that pattern back, or you can choose to do something entirely different. Okay, as you can tell, nice layered look. It also helps me with knowing, hey, here's the color you want to grab next, possibly, unless you don't want it there. And we'll take our burgundy. And it's okay if it feels like, you know, you're stretching them out, because remember, the ones at the bottom are just lower coverage anyway. Honestly, we want the bigger focus to be on the top, the upper layers of the leaves. These are just fillers. And we've got our dark chocolate. I'm looking for black. There we go. And we got our orange. guess we'll do red for the orange. Oop. Sometimes it slips. And now we'll do that dark chocolate, milk chocolate actually. And we're starting to get up to that V. Remember where the V is where we're going to stop. And we're going to go in the opposite direction. Okay, there's that. And then we're taking the lime green color. Okay. And I think we're supposed to do red. So at this point, you can decide, do you want to stretch your leaves so that those, like, that they wind up right in that crack, which is what I'm trying to do, so that they will meet right here. And I think that will work. So that if I keep going now, I'm going to be moving this in the opposite direction. And it's great if you can kind of slightly overlap. It'll help hide your pins a bit better. Just like that, like it's a leaf just beginning to form. These ones are a little bit more challenging, so I'm going to start back up here. And I'm just going to randomly pick a color from this point on to get that. Because remember, I have to build on my leaves. So I'm trying to get those two lined up so that I can go the other way. Because if I keep going this way, it's a little harder for me to try to do an overlap because there's nothing for me to overlap. Here, at least I can make sure I'm trying to go over my pin points. And so I'm going to have to change direction here because I've already, if I'm going according to the color, I could go backwards, I guess. We can go red here. I'll try to grab these out so I can see them better. And if you want, you don't have to use pins. You could glue these in place. Keep in mind you're going to have to hold them in that location until I'd rather do this color. I'm kind of doing it in a weird backwards order. Just like that. The one on the door? No, it is not made with ribbon, Nancy. It is a Decor mesh wreath. I know it looks like ribbon because we really emphasized the look of the ribbon and we just toned down the color of the Decor mesh to give it a neutral base. So it blends with the sign, and then we popped the ribbon with that. Okay, now we're going to do orange. Watch your spacing because sometimes as you start to work, you start to feel like you're putting them a little closer together. Like here, it feels a little closer together than I did here, because here, I think I'm okay. I might be a little bit off on spacing, but it's handmade, right? It's not supposed to be perfect. I'm trying to get my leaf to go up. And would prefer it. I'm looking for a darker color pen. And then we'll do our beige. And we'll do this one with white. Okay, and then we're back to our burgundy. And see what I'm saying? You don't want to bring it too close. You can bring that back a little bit further and allow that to work to your advantage to give yourself more spacing in between. And now we're going to go with yellow. And then we're going to do our hunter green. And now we're back to, I think that's 10 colors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now we're back to our burnt orange. Getting that around this corner. And we're back to red. Then our light green. Having a color combo laid out like that just makes picking them up so much easier. Hi Karen, welcome. And then from here, we're doing that chocolate brown. See that one I tried to put a little too close. I guess if you had a ton of them, you could put them extra close. But I chose to go, I'm trying to distance them so that they kind of somewhat match. Let's see, we need red. And you always want to make sure you're going through that little felt fold. I think we're doing dark brown. Will that work? Yes, it will be just, so I'm going to move my red to move that brown in place. Oops. Kind of slid down from where I wanted it to go. And I'm going to pick up our red. And so now successfully we have gone all the way around the outside of our form. So logically, it makes sense that if we did the outside, the next step would be to do the inside, because then that helps you to determine how many leaves do you have. So with here, starting with our red, we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. We've done 35 just to the outside. I think it's going to be right around 25 doing it on the inside. So I am going to start with a totally different color. I'm going to do that mustard yellow. And I am going to, this is where it's a little bit more challenging because it's easy work in the inside. You know, you're trying to figure out, okay, how do I do the inside? Because you've got to constantly be laying over the top of. So I'm trying to get this to end, but also still cover that slight overlap. So I'm going to try this here and see how that works, dipping that down. And so what I'm thinking is my next one would be red, but on here it would be green. So I'm looking at, can I get them both to kind of come to a point? Because that's the whole thing of making this look realistic, is getting them, hopefully, I'm just going to put this one here as a placeholder for the center. And so from here, now I have something I can overlap. So I'm going to overlap with my red. See, I can overlap that right over my pinpoint. And as I'm overlapping, I'm not pinning this direction. I am pinning from the underside up. So just like so. Okay, and then we're going to do our lime green over this. Here's our green. And so these are all pointing down, so will the others. We are doing chocolate brown. Again, watch your spacing, because I'm telling myself this. I'm like, whoa, those are going a little too close, girl. Back them off a bit. Okay. And now we're going to do our orange. So elongate them and let them go long. And now we're going to do that dark chocolate. I keep taking these and flicking these into my, it catches on my sweatshirt. Now we want chocolate brown. It's going to be challenging because we're going around a curve. Again, just make sure you're angling them down, but also stretching them out. Okay. From here, we're going to do, I didn't do burgundy. I skipped burgundy at some point. I think right in here. Okay, so I'm going to go backwards. We're doing our beige right over the side. I still want to keep that leaf open. Oops. I can tell if I don't pin it into that thing when it goes in too smooth. Okay, moving this around now. Slightly overlapping. Okay, and we're into yellow. I'm trying to stretch this because I want the end of my next leaf to end right here at that point, and I'll show you why. Okay, so there's that, and we're doing the hunter green again. And let's find our green. And I'm getting that secured in. So that, so far, is our end. And remember, since mine are not secured, I can move them and lift them up higher if I want. I can also push them down lower. From here, we're doing our mustard orange right here. Just like that, so they meet in the middle. And then we're doing our red. Let's see. I'm doing that thing again where I have to, you know, we're technically going under our leaves before. So I'm going to make this one go right about here. So if that's there, then my leaf right above it will continue that pattern all the way through, because I'm not building on my leaf. I'm just looking at, okay, if that logically were to lay over my pinhead, where would that pinhead be? This is only for this inside because we're not working around a seamless area. So again, bring those around. We had 4. We're going to get to our 4th one here with our milk chocolate before we end our home stretch. pushing that pin all the way in. Okay. Kind of actually want to angle these ones down a little bit further as we go around the corner. Oops. Because I like the way these are working, which is always nice because I laid those the right direction. Okay, so from our chocolate, we're doing orange. And I'm just going to lift that up so I can push that in. And now that's going to cover and drop down. Let me pull this one out. And that is definitely something we can do if you need to reposition them to where they cover a little bit better. And keep in mind, going around that corner is just going to be a tough call. But we don't have to be so perfect, because you're going to be laying ones on top of in kind of like a crisscross pattern. But now here, we need these to start going down towards the bottom because they need to cover the bottom. Okay, and now we've got our beige. So I'm just going to lift this up. Look at where that covers. Sometimes you can just almost eyeball it based on how your ribbon was rolled. So if I'm lining them up to be exact, my next one should line up right about here, going down. Oops. Okay, there's that. And now we're doing yellow. I just hope it doesn't go to the green. Lift it up. Okay, and we've got green coming up here. And then we've got that mustard color. I'm going to mix these because they're starting to be a little too in sync with each other. Just because of where the overlap is. And then I think I'm going to bring a solid orange in here. And that should overlap. Remember, our green is just our space. It's just a placeholder. We just put it there so we would know roughly, hey, this is where they would overlap. So there's our inside. We've got our inside done and our outside done. It's completely put together. Now, we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to start in one direction and we're just going to overlap them. Hi, Elizabeth. Okay, so I'm picking some random color point like the burgundy. And should I go burgundy? Let's do orange. I'm going to bring orange down here. So I want this one to hang a little bit further down. I'm going to try this. Okay. Down to our point. And then if I follow my pattern, I'm going to do the chocolate. And I'm still pinning from my side toward the frame, covering our pin heads. And we're going to do our lime green. And then red. I've got all these white. It's funny, every time I pick them up, I don't get any red. There we go. I'm going to pull that one out because I bent that pin trying to push it in too hard. Okay. Mustard yellow. And I'm trying to get them to slightly overlap the next layer below them so that they're not, so I'm not building one on top of the other. They've got a slight overlap is the look that we're trying to achieve. And let's see, we're doing the green. And I'm pushing these down still. And let's see, we did green, we're doing yellow. And now we're doing burgundy. That was my bent pin. And we do our beige. And normally I have a form that's already halfway done so that you can see this, but sadly, this was the only form that I had available. So I was like, oh, we're just gonna have to mow through this. I will edit this video so that it'll just go to the highlights and not watching me do the entire thing. Although for some people, they're like, hey, if she has a struggle, we want to see it. And sometimes we have struggles. And now we're doing chocolate brown. Let's get our black pins. And you could do pins with no colored balls on them. I just find it's easier if I have to put them in or take them out. It's easier for me. And here's our green. And our red. And now we're back to our mustard yellow. And I'm trying to get it to where, again, we're winding up right here at the indent so that we can change direction. And so we're at the green. So that's where I'm going to stop. Okay. So now we've got our 2 layers. And like I said, you can bring them down. If you'd like, you can position and maneuver them any which way you'd like. We're going to go ahead and continue our path here. So I'm going to do a slight overlap here. And I'm going to push this one down into the form. If you find that it's a little tough on your fingers, just get a pair of pliers and just push them in. And I'm doing that same thing, where we're we're having to do the overlap on the outside. Here's our beige. And our chocolate brown. And you can tell from the original 100, this is what I have. So that for those of you that are keeping count in how many have I used so far, that will give you an accurate measurement. And we're back to our orange. And I think we'll have plenty. So even if we want to readjust and move some of them down, we definitely can do that. The critical thing in this particular design is making sure that we retain the integrity of the shape of the heart. Oops, pushed that one too far. Still too far. Okay. Now we're with our red. It's a little challenging doing it when you have to move them aside and go back in and try to do a backfill. Because it's easy when you do them this way and you can see exactly what's happening. Mustard yellow, and now we're turning slightly to get it back in line with the rest of the wreath. Okay. There we go. We did red, we did the mustard, we're doing green. Okay, and now we're back to our yellow. The part that I love is the last layer, because that is literally filling the gaps. And that's the fun part, because you just look at where do you want to layer color, but that can be a challenge because sometimes there could be two colors that are really close in proximity to your color wheel, and you're like, oh, I don't really like those two that close together. Sliding one. This one's just a little too close. That's why it wouldn't lay flat. So now if I lay it there, this one can lay right over the top. So that's a tip if you're struggling. And it's funny because I don't have beige. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess so. I'm just going to grab from this side to get our beige going again. Now we got the dark brown. There we go. Okay. And our orange, which I'm gonna have to borrow from up here. But see how they're like orange on top of orange? I don't like that, so I am going to let's use a dark green. Sometimes you just got to change it up. It's a little too matchy for you. Okay. Then I'll do yellow. So as I'm laying these on their sides, that determines where is my pin going. So these ones are laying more sideways. So I'm pinning from this side. When I do this side, it's going to be from the other side. Okay, so we want green, yellow, we want burgundy. There we go. And a beige. Let's go with a mustard yellow. Nope, mustard yellow's there. See what I'm saying? I'm now coming face to face with, okay, these are the colors I already have here. I don't necessarily want to do that. I just use yellow and I just use burgundy. So what color? Let's do lime green. And now we're making that pinpoint here. So I want to make sure that the one I got has the longest layer. So we can try to match those two up. Just like so. Okay. Now we have added layer number 2. Now we're going to add in layer number 3, which goes around the inside, and it's going to start doing these overlaps here with these, so that you'll see that the final one will just be leaves that go back and forth as we are maneuvering those around. So I think I'm going to start up here at the top and kind of find my overlap point to the inside. I'm trying to decide what color. I think I might want to go with chocolate, like a chocolate brown. So, and I'm going to angle these just slightly downward, but they're going to overlap. One's going to overlap the other. So the first one I want to do, let's put a burgundy here. So I'm going to go fairly close to that pinpoint. Get those down. And I'm going to overlap this one with the other one, if I can. Trying to get them to overlap is going to be the challenge, and not stabbing the pin with the other pin, like that one. I've noticed that my black ones, the little pin heads just keep coming off. It's only on the black ones. Maybe it's just a defective lot. Okay. And we'll work a little bit more on this look, because I actually had a look that I totally loved here. So I might be pulling this green off. Oop, it went through our blue. Let me go ahead and tuck one under the other. Okay, let me get this one to work. Yeah, it's challenging to try to nail that. I think I want a darker pin. Can we do red? Okay, and then when we come in with our green, the green will fit perfect. Trying to nail that point, man. so that you have a really nice finished look there without seeing an awful lot of pinheads, but that it looks kind of pretty, that it's like a nice finished look. I'm actually going to pull this one down and try to go way under. See? There's my pinhead again. But it's in there. I guess we could have done that. A pin with no head there. And then that would look really pretty. Okay, so from here now, we're going to fan these out. Since we're doing burgundy, we want our yellow, but I don't want too matchy-matchy, so let's go with our beige. Let's change. Now we're doing match here. This is where we're going to just change the order. This is where it can be a touch challenging. I'm going to go with the green. And remember, we want to bring these ones up. So now we are pinning from this side. We are pinning from this side into our form. So now those will start to fall. Because we don't want a need to create a, I missed that one. We don't want to create a need for a fourth layer, but we just got to get around the corner. And then when we come up here, see what I'm saying is we don't want to do, these need to be full enough to where these are starting to overlap a bit. So let's go with our hunter green. So I'm going to take these and turn these. And we'll get our milk chocolate. Let's see, we're doing light, so let's do yellow. Okay, so now we're going here. It's easier if I just work from this way and look underneath the form. And then those will subsequently all slowly, like once we get the other layer in, we can readjust our inner layer. So let's go burgundy. I always look at it on one end so that I can decide, hey, do I need to push this one down towards the center more? And now these need to start coming to where they fan out. Now we will do the beige. And I might have to go back in and readjust that burgundy pin. Let's pull this one out. That's the beauty of not doing the glue. And now I can get that right up where it needs to go. Just like so. Okay, now I can do chocolate. So that's gonna come just like there. And our light green. Is that right? No, we need, let's go orange. So now as we're doing these, we're doing that overlap over our pins. So lift this one up, get your pin in, and then layer them back. And we'll do our milk chocolate. See where your pin would overlap. Just like that. Bring that down right over the top. And now we're doing lime green. Again, overlap, but now we're working the corner. So we need to make sure those corners come together the way they're supposed to. So I've got my slight overlap there. We're swinging those in. And I'm going to go opposite here so that here's our overlap again. We're working the inside, so that pin needs to get pinned from this side. And then now we have that nice overlap going on. So hopefully this should go fairly quickly. Trying to get those to where trying to get my pin underneath. Okay, we're doing emerald green. So again, bring it on the inside. It always dispenses every single color but what I need. Let's bring these way a little bit. There we go. And our mustard yellow color. Oh, that one just totally bent my pin. It might have gone in with one of the wires that were there before. Burgundy, right? No, red. It's just a calming thing, Elizabeth. It's just like, you know, I'm just sitting here pinning leaves. I like the end result when it's finished, but this is the first time I've done this one using a formed wreath, like that it has a form to it. Okay, we've got our lime green. I guess if you did ball pins with like clear or no heads, you wouldn't have to worry about making sure you're hiding your pin heads as you're going around like I'm having to do. Okay, there's that. And now we're going to do our orange. Trying to get that one up and under so I can get my chocolate. These are from the bottom. These are our bottom ones. So we don't want to take from those. Trying to bring them up. There we go. I'm going to pull that one down so that I can put one in between these two. Let's see, it's gonna be that chocolate brown right in here. So I'm gonna make sure this tip covers this pin. Just like that. Okay, so we've got bottom layer, second layer, we've got 4 layers of our wreaths, of our felt leaves. So now we get to do the fun part, which is where I was telling you it's super fun, because now you can layer them in whatever color and pattern you want. So like in here, then it's going to depend. If you want your leaf to turn this way, you're going to pin it to this side. So if I want it to go here, I'm going to pin to the underside here. Oop, completely missed it. I'm going to pin that there. And then the next one that I want to bring up, let's go with orange. You want to make sure that you're doing a slight little overlap so that we can kind of like hide our pins a bit. So I did that one. I want to bring this one up a little bit closer so we have a different overlap. Pull that out so that we're overlapping on this side. And I'm still going to pin to this angle. So I have one going this way, one going this way. We're going to go back this way. I'm going to see how this works. We might just end up kind of relayering pins back over on top of our pins, like every other one. Let's bring her burgundy in. So now we're just covering in the pretty leaves. I want to go this way with our mustard color. So if I'm laying this way, I'm pinning from this side. And if I'm taking it from this side, I'm pinning in the other direction. So they're kind of overlapping each other's pins. Okay, let me see. We'll bring orange in here. And we'll do a yellow. And then we'll do a green. No, we'll do beige to the inside. And we'll do a burgundy right in here. Oops. Trying to get that one in the right place that I want it to lay. We'll see if I have to adjust that one. I might come in and just add a green right in here, because it feels like it needs it, just to get it around the corner. What do you guys think so far? I'm trying to bring all my colors back over here again to make sure I'm not forgetting any. Let's do a beige down here. And we'll do that hunter green. And I'm trying to figure out what color do I want to bring in here. Towards the end. Should we use yellow? Should we use brown? I like the burgundy, but burgundy's already there. Maybe we'll do it the mustard color, because that kind of looks pretty. So now I'm trying to figure out where does it need to be to lay there, the way I want it to lay. There we go. Super pretty. And then I think I'll bring a red in here, just like this, with a slight overlap. I'm trying to get that one to lay just like so. There we go. Just got to readjust our whatchamacallit, our leaves. And then this one I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go under our burgundy. There we go. So that we can bring our burgundy just slightly up. Okay. And then I think we'll do a lime green there. Maybe a yellow. Yeah, we'll do the yellow. So move this one out of the way. And then bring that back up. And just let's get our brown pen again. It's those black pens, man, I'm telling you. I don't know what it is. It just does not want to lay in place. Okay, so I'm going to continue to work up and around and down. I think we have plenty of leaves to finish this. What do you guys think? That we can definitely get it to work. Oops. Sometimes I miss it completely. Sometimes I put it up too high. And then depending upon which way do you want your leaf to turn determines, are you pinning it from this way or are you pinning it this way? And I'm going to come in from this side. I think this side. Yes. And then I'm going to bring our red in. Red, red, red. And let's see, I'll do burnt orange. bringing it around. You can even move the ones that are currently in place. Just move them to the side to allow you to put your pin in. And then that pin can overlap your other pin. Let's do beige. So because I want this one here, I want it to fan this way. So I'm going to pin it from this side. But I'm going to take it down under this. So I'm going to pull that back. Pin my pin underneath. So then those two overlap. And then now we can bring in our burgundy. What do you guys think? Is this something that you think you might want to try? It's just a super simple, fun, heart-shaped wreath. Hi, Ari, how are you? Haven't seen you in a while. Okay, we're going to do our light green because I have a dark green here. I need my computer to stop going into sleep mode. So again, I'm going to move this to the side because I want this under, like we did the beige. I'm going to bring it up, push our pin in, and then we can move this one in place. Now I'll push this one way out of place, which tells me I need to move it up. Because that was fine. So I'm going to move it back. There we go. Okay. Let's do chocolate. So again, do the overlap. Bring one over the top of the other. Ooh, why did I grab yellow? Completely missed it. Trying to get it under my green. And I moved my green completely out of spot. That's okay. Now I will take this and just tuck that in there. Oops. Almost want to take this one and just move it right over the top. So it makes a nice little, like this almost looks like its own like little leaf pattern. Kind of. I'm still going to start doing down here as well. We'll take our chocolate. I'm going to get that under. I'd rather work from the bottom up so I know that I have plenty on the top that I can really overlap. So I'm just moving leaves out of the way to allow me to get those in place. Man, red pins and black pins. Hard to make sure you have plenty. Let's do dark chocolate. Oh, I've got a dark chocolate there. Let us do the mustard yellow. I'm going to pull this one out, and I'm going to put a mustard yellow in first, and then I'm going to put the red on top. So, just like this. So I'll pick this one up so that I can slightly push this in. And now I got good coverage. Joan says, I think I might try this. Oh, a square wreath would be perfect. Oh, yes. Avoid the curves. You just need the styrofoam form. That's all you need, Joan. And you'll be set. So, doing it this side. That would be super cute. You could even add a small sign to the center too. Now we'll do, nope, we'll have to do this color chocolate. And let's bring in, we'll do the green. And then we'll do our orange. That means our pinhead is in there. Let's do lime green. To the other side, we'll do this over here. And then we'll do our chocolate. Let's bring in red right about here. See, this is where you can start overlapping if you feel like there's a little bit of a gap that you want to cover. Go ahead and make sure you do that. And then we'll bring in our beige right about here. And we'll do a green. So the top is so much easier than the bottom. That's too matchy for me. What color? Maybe that color. That will look good. There we go. And then now we can add orange. And we'll do a nice burgundy. See, I'm just kind of doing a little crisscross overlap right here. Let's do yellow. We don't have any yellow up here. We're almost done. Let's do a dark chocolate. It is starting to get hot again. They said it was supposed to rain yesterday. It never rained. Nope. Let's do red. Nope. Green. Oh yeah, we'll do that one. Definitely right over the top. We're closing up the gap. And I'm just kind of flipping and just kind of overlapping, because I still have a lot of leaves left, and I didn't really use all of what I thought I would. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to backfill in here a little bit. I'm going to give it some more leaves. So that we have a different look. Beige. I definitely feel like I want to do burgundy. Nope, can't do burgundy there. Can't do lime green, can't do this. This is where you start, like, once you start mixing your colors, you're like, ugh, what am I going to use? I'm going to use the beige there. And we'll use red. So depending upon which way you want it to lay determines which side are you going to pin on, either the left or the right. So I'm pinning that side. And let's see, I guess we can go with mustard yellow. I have a lot of yellow pins. What does that tell me? Either that I haven't been pinning with a lot of yellow, or we just have an awful lot of yellow pins. Okay, beige, no. Burgundy, too matchy. Green, we can do green here. Green is there. Let's put a red in there. Now that we're cramming for space, it's tough to get your pins in there to where everything's going to lay on top of the right colors. Okay, so we've got quite a bit of colors represented there. We might take this in with the light. I think so. So I'm going to do it from this side. Up and over. And then, like I said, wherever you want to pin some additional leaves, just bring them in. And you can pin additional colors. But so far, we have accurately done everything. There's one color. I'm trying to think of what color I want to put. It's like I can't use this one, not this one. It might just have to be a chocolate, because I already have burgundy and I already have the yellow. I don't want beige, I want dark. because I have one little peeky thing right in here. So I just really want to bring that in. So I'm going to pull my inside yellow out of the way, so I can go in and pin. Just like so. And now I'm just giving it some more fullness. So just wherever I can see like a slight little bit of reflection, because I have so many leaves, I can come back in and I can add some additional colors. Let's see. Like even right here. You just bring this one out of the way. Move this down. Pin that in. Lift this up. And then just move everything back into shape. And have one more spot. Well, what do you guys think so far? I think I'm going light green. Right in here. I'm trying to see if it'll go there. It's so nice because they're so tight and they're so snug and they fit in there so like perfectly. Sometimes you don't even need a pin, but I know it needs a pin. Gotta also just push it more into place like I'd like. So look, it's all done. And to know how many pins we used or how many leaves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. We had 22 left out of 100, or out of 200, so that leaves us with what, 188 leaves. So again, to show you how to preform your leaves, because I have that one left, you just fold them in half, you put a little dot of glue, you take a chip clip or a clothespin, and you just pin it so that it maintains its little cute wreath shape. So let me show you what it looks like on the door. So I'm going to pivot you up. So it's going to be small on this door. So this would be for smaller spaces. It's perfect for storm doors. I don't think that I would add a bow to it, as there's just too many colors. So let me set this over here. And we remember we already added our hook. So our hook's already on the back. So much smaller space wreath. Fall in love with fall. And that's exactly what it looks like. And like I said, all these leaves, because we didn't glue them, you could just move into position however you want them to be. You can kind of fluff it out a little bit, but imagine putting that in your home in a perfect small space. Works great. Office cubicles, hospice doors because it's lightweight, apartment doors because they're much smaller than a full-size house door. Trying to think of where else you could put that. If I'm using smaller wreaths, I put them inside on our family's photo wall. I have a center section that's about 18 inches so that I can put a seasonal wreath. And I can put something that's like fall, and then Halloween, and then Valentine's Day. And I put something small And then you have your family's photos all the way around. And so you're decorating your family's photo wall for the season. Carol says, you have all the patience of a primary school teacher. Oh, Joan says, what about using a square moss form? The way that the moss forms are designed is they put it on a wired form, so there would be nothing to hold the pins in if you pinned it. You could do a straw form, you could do styrofoam is like the only thing I'm thinking of. Styrofoam, straw becomes heavy, so I'll have to check and see if they might already have it, a square styrofoam form. So keep in mind that this one is 12 inches at the longest. Let's see if it still is 12, because we added the leaves. So let me look. If we go from leaf point to leaf point, it's 14 tall, and then from leaf to leaf, 14. So we added 2 inches from the wreath form diameter. So we used 188 of the little, can't see that on screen, of the little leaves. They come in packs of 100. So you will need 2 packs to complete that. I think the packs, they're kind of pricey. They're like almost 20 bucks for 100. So you can kind of pick and choose. There's some other people that put them on a hoop form, and that's another option you have too, but it's a little harder to stack them, and I'm not into like poking a wire in and wiring them to a frame. I'd rather just pin them because they're so much easier. And the nice thing is, ooh, I like that, Audrey. She said, what about a camper? Absolutely, you can put that on there. Definitely. Campers, RVs. That works out beautifully. Okay. Well, thank you guys for this. This will be available for replay as soon as I am done. And then I will put my Amazon affiliate link for the leaves if you want to order them. The exact same ones I got. And what else did I say? I was going to give you an affiliate link. Oh, the Cool Shot. Because it's cool. So, no, it's warm. I wouldn't, trust kids using it, but it doesn't get hot enough for you to burn your fingers with. So that's kind of nice. But you will need the Cool Shot glue sticks, so I'll do those. Pool noodle, that would work too. But I think the pool noodle starts to get into the diameter like this. They're really thick. And so that was the issue that I had with this. This probably would have taken close to 300, 350 felt leaves to hit a frame that big because it is so wide. So look for thin. If I come up with any suggestions, I'll put them in the description box too. But thanks, guys.